day, but still I'm happy that at last I could come online. Technology is funny, but it is also good. So because it allows us to talk, to share, and to speak, right? So like how I'm able to convey my self to you. So okay, it was funny. So I'm not able to share the screen. So how does that happen? I have no idea. So maybe next time we can do. So my topic today was to talk about cannabis and how does it help in cancer. Nature has given us lots of gifts. When nature made humans, along with it provided the nutrition. Where nature was created us from two half cells, half cell from mom, half cell from dad, joined, and a huge burst of cell replication happened, and a whole human was formed, right? How does this was controlled by nature? There was nothing else. It's a physiology. Pregnancy is a physiological aspect. Same thing is, it provided us nutrition. It provided us all the gifts of even medicine, right? So long before the Mullers, the Rockefellers, there were natural sciences that existed. Natural sciences of American Indians, natural sciences of Aztecs, natural sciences of Egyptians, natural sciences of Arabs, Unani system, natural sciences of India, Ayurveda, natural sciences of China or traditional Chinese medicines, which is also being practiced in Korea and Japan. So it was the gift of people who spend their time with nature, understanding the signature, the doctrine of signature. So same way, God gifted us health. The nature also gifted us the ability to bear the environment. And that ability came in the form of immunity, in the form of homeostasis, what we scientific people call as homeostasis. So this homeostasis is nature's gift to us, to humans. And our own body does that. It takes care of the temperature variations. It takes care of the roughness of the environment. It takes care of whatever we eat. It takes care of us. And when this whole system is running in healthy, there is something called as mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin. This system, which we know now, exists and works for protein synthesis, for cell differentiation, for self-multiplication. It is there in our system. And this mTOR, it gives a way for us. And this mTOR is an open system. It just knows to run. And there are various factors which actually control the mTOR. And one of that factor is what we call as TSC, tuberous sclerosis, complex 1 and 2. Another factor is AKT. Another factor is the energy that we take, fasting. And this mTOR, if it is unchecked, it can just keep multiplying. You have seen the evolution where something falls and it gets evaluated and rapid happens. That we can say it is mTOR in action. The science of mTOR in action. It acts and spreads rapidly. It is uncontrolled. To control that, nature has devised factors, and one factor is insulin. Under the insulin-like growth factor, it gets controlled. So if there is insulin metabolic disorders in a human, what actually happens? And how does insulin go vary? Because we keep eating, right? So cancer epidemic, I'll call it epidemic because it doesn't see anything. It is spread across the whole world. It is there in animals. I read articles where sea lions in California are being affected with cancer. Fishes that we see are cancerous. Animals are getting, dogs that are being loved by humans are getting cancers. How does that happen? Right? So, what are the recognized causes for cancer? The recognized causes, like they say, are the biological factors, the internal factors, that is the mTOR that is available. Age, gender is the same is that some hormone induced cancers, they are very common in certain ages, in certain genders. Inherited genetic defects and skin type, like the fair skin is, when it is exposed to UV, they get more skin cancer than in the Indian skin. Environmental exposure, we know that bad environment like today, like the exposure to harsh ultraviolet rays. What happened in, what was that island which they destroyed the ozone, you know it, right? So what happened there, right? So, and fine particulate matter, when it enters inside our body, it can also give rise to lung cancer. Occupational risks, we know asbestos is a known carcinogen. So are endocrine disrupting agents. I had done a small lecture on endocrine disrupting agents, which I'll put live after editing, and you can go through it. You can see how these endocrine disrupting chemicals are there in our body, and they are there in food that we eat. They are there in the air that we breathe. And of course, obesity is the biggest factor for this. I wanted to share you some screen, but somehow I'm trying, but I'm not able to do that. What I can put some photos, the photos of cannabis. NIDA, National Institute of Drug Abuse, USA. It called some doctors and say, go and find out the ill effects of cannabis on human. They said, okay. So they did years of research, decades of research, like Dr. Donald Abrahams, the oncologist who was head of the study, he said, and he found that there were no side effects. There was nothing harsh effects. And he published a book under the National Academy of Sciences, The Health Effects of Cannabis and Cannabinoids. You can download this PDF. It is freely available. You can go into National Institute of Health website and search for the health effects of cannabis and cannabinoids and read for yourself that cannabis doesn't harm. It doesn't harm in any way. Cannabis is a gift of nature. It's such a beautiful plant. And it is sad and irony that it is partially banned in India. The leaves are allowed in the form of bhang, it's allowed, but the rest of the plant is banned. They should allow the bud. I hope they do that, because WHO, we know, has recognized it, cannabis and cannabis resin, as medicine today. Because the so-called opioid misuse that has happened, people, they eat lots of morphine for pain and they end up sleeping into death. So they take for pain and they sleep forever. That's not good. It's not at all good. So this, to manage opioid crisis, WHO has now recognized that instead of opioid, you can use cannabis, because it is also highly effective for pain. Now, what are the recognized uses of cannabinoids? The recognized uses, number one is CINV, that is chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting. The moment cancer is diagnosed, we rush, we give chemotherapy. 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions, and then the immediate effect is nausea and vomiting. That is related to the chemotherapy. And the best medicine, apart from the routine medicine, is cannabinoids. So cannabinoids can not only stop nausea and vomiting, it can also bring about good health in the person. So that is another recognized use. Second recognized use is cancer pain. So you can use for chronic pain of cancer. It's one of the best medicine. Instead of morphine, instead of opioid analgesics, you can use cannabinoids. And today, it was very funny to see that in 1975, a paper was published by Journal of National Cancer Institute by A.E. Munson, and he published a paper where he said anti-neoplastic activity of cannabinoids. It was in 1975. From 1975, it took the technology to develop, and in 1992 and on, they found something called as endocannabinoid system. Nature gift to human. Wow. So like the plant is being gifted, the nature is also gifting us what we call as endocannabinoid system. This endocannabinoid system is there. It fine-tunes all the other systems. The endocannabinoid system consists of lock and key mechanism. The locks are there in us, the locks, the receptors. The key is endocannabinoids, or also the cannabinoids. They go and fit into the lock, which are there on cell membranes, and they initiate a cascade of reaction, thereby bringing about homeostasis. So you should ask your doctor, do you know what is endocannabinoid system? If you know, please read and educate yourself, because it's part of physiology. Every doctor should know. And you should also ask the doctor, does endocannabinoid system exist? Can we use it for cancer treatment? And in 2020, there was this beautiful paper where they found that, cannabis or cannabinoids, it can inhibit cell proliferation and epithelial mesenchymal transition. And this paper was published in 2020 in a journal PLOS1, PLOS 1. So from 1975 to 2020, there are thousands of papers. Research is going on, and this research is always there. There was also a very good paper which was published in 2020, Cannabinoids in Cancer Treatment, the Therapeutic Potential and Legislation. It was done by some Romanian scientist by name Barbara Daris. You can also see cancer.org website and see for marijuana and cancer. There is a definite link, and Government of Canada is supporting the research on cannabis for cancer. When is India going to do that? I hope they do it soon, because when the present government came into being what we call as right wing, we thought that they will legalize cannabis immediately, because we know we take cannabis as a religious plant. That's why we make bhang and use it on Janmashtami, on Holi, as a prasad of Bhagwan Shiv. So we thought that it will come legalized, but it has not yet come. I hope they do it soon. Okay. Now I told that there is something called as mTOR pathway, and same way cannabinoids through CB1 and CB2 receptors can act and inhibit the mTOR pathway, thereby inhibiting the cell synthesis. The cell synthesis is inhibited. And which are the cells that will be more affected? The cells that reply rapidly, cancer cells. That will be under the effect of cannabis. It induces what we call as apoptosis, or programmed cell death, by the stimulation of ceramide. Cannabinoids, through the action of endocannabinoid system, is anti-proliferative. It doesn't allow the cancer to proliferate. It doesn't allow the cancer to get the nourishment. It is angiogenic. It blocks the blood supply to the cancer cells. It blocks the action of amoeba type of cancer, where the cancer cells, they lodge out and they spread through the blood and go away, causing metastasis. So we have this whole research, and today what has happened is very sad, right? Because we know this cannabis is restricted. Same thing goes with the cannabinoids. Cannabinoids goes into restriction, but still the manufacturers, they are able to extract cannabinoids from the cannabis leaf or bhang and make cannabis. So if the government legalizes the bud and the resin, the cost of cannabinoids as medicine will go down, and that will be very big effect for us, for the people. And you should also understand that all this research was because of the fine technology that was brought. And we thank the scientists, especially Dr. Raphael Mesholem of Israel, Dr. Ethan Russo of America, Dr. Manuel Guzman of Spain. I think we owe a lot. Dr. Franjo Groebman of Germany. These are the top people who under the microscope are busy finding out how does cannabis work in various diseases. We should salute. I also salute all those cancer survivors. They had great immune system. And I also salute all of those my friends who took cannabis under my care, under care of various doctors, and they came out of cancer forever. And there are many anecdotal reports, like I also have. So it goes with the other black market users who use cannabis before this, and they have used cannabis and they have, got rid of their cancers. So today it's a time that we stand up and ask the honorable government to legalize the cannabis bud and the resin so that we can use in cancer at least as a medicinal subject. And we today should take an oath that I am not going to nurture cancer by all that stuff, right? You know that. The stuff like carbohydrates, sugar. Why do you want to take sugar and nurture cancer? Why do you want to buy Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all these soft aerated drinks filled with sugar, which is ultimately going to nurture cancer? So take an oath that I am going to be cancer free, because today I know it is my own body that is going to produce cancer in me. So if I don't allow my body, if I enjoy intermittent fasting, occasionally drop out foods, instead of eating 3 times, you eat 2 times or eat once, nothing is going to happen to you. It will be a genuine oath on your own, because I am responsible for my body, not some other doctor. He can give some medicines. Even I can give some medicines for different conditions. But if I don't take charge of my own health, who is going to do that? So today, don't get scared of cancer. There are methods, natural methods, which are there. Adopt the natural protocols. And I'll take this opportunity and I'll say that wish my great friends in 1985 had stood up and said that cannabis is plant, please don't ban it. The government of India would have categorized it in some other way. The way they did bhang, cannabis leaves. Just imagine, scientifically the whole plant is called cannabis, but only bhang, the leaves, is legal. Rest of the plant is illegal. That was the legislation. Because India had signed the WHO legislation on drugs. And because the Western society said that cannabis is a drug, the Indians accepted. But if my Ayurvedic friends had stood up in 1985 or before that and said to the government, no, we have 190 plus formulations, please don't ban that, how will we survive? Then this would have not happened. So even today, it's a great opportunity. I welcome you all. Stand up, say, I am not going to nurture cancer. There is another medicine that can help, along with proper diet and proper lifestyle, that I can get rid of cancer. So I welcome you all to take an oath that I am not going to nurture cancer in my body. Stand up. I will stand up for those farmers who do traditional farming. Because if you do traditional farming, the pesticide usage will become less and you will eat food which is healthy, which is organic. Thereby, this oath will become fine, where the food that you eat will be healthy and that won't be cancerous. Because the pesticide use that happens for the GMO, for the corporate farmings, Lays for example. You buy Lays, you buy poison for your kids. So avoid all those things. And you can take an oath and stand up for the farmers who do traditional farming. And I again call you on to take an oath to remain cancer free, and that is you yourself can do that. Nobody else can do it for you. Stand up for your own health, fight it for your own health, and let's wait that the cancer. And also ask your doctor about endocannabinoid system. Ask your doctor about, can I use cannabinoids along with the additional treatment. And also, if you have any issues, reach out to those doctors who knows endocannabinoid system, who know cannabis inside out, who can help you use. Because there are other doctors also who suggest you take cannabis. आप एक drop ले लो, 2 drop ले लो. But if you are not dosing it properly, ideally, you're not going to gain benefits. So I thank you all for attending my live. Sorry for the delay, because this technology is always funny, will always be funny for me and my friends. Nature living Zindabad.